Hello, good day. Welcome back to my channel, the Uncensored Asian Vlog. And it's been a while since my last live run. And today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic or issue that you might find interesting as well. And this is about TikTok and Libel. TikTok, Libel. So, as you can see on my computer screen, I have TikTok. And this is about some personalities on TikTok that you might find interesting. These are colorful personalities, of course, and TikTok is really definitely interesting app. It's a Chinese owned app, and it's been very popular for some time, especially in the Philippines and America. And okay, we're not gonna talk about some privacy or security issue related to TikTok, but today, like I said, this is going to be a topic about libel and TikTok because for some reason over the past few days I've seen some videos going through my FIP about some TikTokers talking about libel, and there's this guy whose TikTok handle or account name is Mr. Real Talk the second, or I believe he changed his account, and he's facing libel threats from some very interesting TikTokers in the Philippines. And we're gonna check what's going on. I don't actually know the whole detail, but the reason why I find this interesting and the reason why I'm making a video of this controversy, I don't think this is a viral controversy on TikTok, but it's been circulating for some time, is because I'll be talking about my own personal experience as someone who faced libel or slander. Okay, libel and slander are two different animals in our legal parlance, but they are basically related. And by the way, don't get distracted by my, we call this, face mask. This is a very cute face mask. Donald Trump, given to me by a relative from United States. And you know if you have TDS, I don't give a damn, but I'd like to simply wear this face mask for my channel and video. And by the way, everything, this one is fake. I got all of this one online, and these are gonna be part of my props or vlog props. So let's get down to business and talk about this issue. So what I know about this is very limited, basically. So like I said, the name of the handle, the Twitter handle of this TikToker who made a public apology on TikTok is Mr. Real TikTok, real, what they call this, let me just make sure, Mr. Real Talk the second. So that is his Twitter handle or username, but he changed it to Romeo Robles Hernandez Jr. Okay, that is his legal name. So like I said, he issued a public apology after some kind of bashing because his Twitter handle is not Twitter, but TikTok handle is Mr. Real Talk. So he's actually talking about some probably TikTokers who were trying to entice thousands of followers by flexing money. So that's the idea that I've gotten from based on the videos that I watch so far. Oh my god, my face mask is falling off. And all right, so that's the issue here, the some basic facts about this issue. So this guy, Mr. Romeo Robles Hernandez Jr., somehow bashed or probably said something, what they call did a real talk about some Filipino TikTokers who were like enticing followers by means of deceitful techniques or tactics, like flexing money in order to gain or attract followers, and we've seen so far these techniques or tactics being used by some Filipino TikTokers. And well, based on my personal opinion, this is just me talking about this, some kind of dirty techniques. If and my opinion is, well, if that's what they think is the best way for them to attract followers, then go for it. But of course, some other people have the right, okay, to talk about these techniques or tactics. Okay, some TikTokers have been creating some content of this strategy by some scrupulous TikTokers in the Philippines. They flex money when in fact they're not actually giving out money, they just flex the money. They have some pads of money on their hand, and then they're trying to give up this money to their friends, but they're not actually giving out money, they're simply showing off. It's flexing, as the term indicates here. So all right, so this guy made a public apology. I believe this is the public apology he did so far. Let's watch. Right, so that's the main gist of his apology. He said, sorry, patawarin niyo pa ako, to some people, like four of them, one of which is Dave Villanueva, I think is a verified Filipino TikToker. And these people, according to some TikTokers on TikTok, this is just a threat, okay? But basically, there's just one guy making a libel threat against Mr. Real Talk King, and that guy is Dave Villanueva, and the other three guys are just for content. So that's according to this TikToker Pinonong Jeprox. I believe this is the guy who said that it's actually just one guy who's making a libel threat against Mr. Real Talk King, and that is Mr. Dave Villanueva. So, and looks like some people like this one and another TikToker named Justin would like to bankroll on this. Okay, they would like to somehow support and provide legal support and money to Mr. Real Talk King, and to basically give him money and lawyers in order to fight Mr. Villanueva and probably others in court, because I believe Mr. Villanueva does not have any case at all. Okay, so I'm going to my experience so far as someone who faced libel, grave threat, and unjust vexation. So someone filed this case, illegal case against me in 2019. So what happened is, just gonna give you some story basically. Okay, I had this badmate. Okay, we rented a condo in Makati. I still live in Makati, but it was a condo along Pasong Tamo, and he and some others were like badmates. We had room for each tenant, 4 rooms. That's a big condominium unit basically. So I had an altercation with this 43-year-old guy. So let's just call him Thunder, Mr. Thunder, Ugly Thunder. Okay, Mr. Ugly Thunder. Okay, let's just call him that name or moniker. I had an altercation, a verbal altercation with this Mr. Thunder at 2 p.m. sometime, April in 2019. Okay, I was about to sleep, and then I had my electric fan in the living room, and I had to get the electric fan, and because of that electric fan, that started the altercation because I called him rude, etc. And he's old. I think he's 48-year-old, and he works in the BPO industry. And that started the altercation. So we had some verbal altercation, verbal, exchange of masasakit na salita, as they say. And he filed grave threat and libel and unjust vexation against me. And he that day or the next day, he contacted our landlord, who is basically my friend. Okay, the landlord is my friend who sided with me, at the end of the day. And he demanded that I give him $50,000, 50,000 pesos, in exchange of not being banished from the property, the whole property, the condominium property. So that's part of his demand, that I pay 50,000 pesos, otherwise I'm gonna get banished or evicted from the unit, the whole, not just the whole unit, but the whole property or condominium property and premises. So that was his demand. And my landlord had to talk to me and said, no, of course not. Why should I pay? It's his fault. Okay, so, and I also filed a counter complaint against him for extortion, unjust vexation, and grave threat as well, because he made some threats against me and my family as well. So at the end of the day, he filed his, he also went to the condo administration, the admin, to have them evict me. Okay, that was his request, but definitely the admin does not have anything to do with our case. We're just tenants, and our landlord was just like being pressed and having anxiety and nervous breakdown because of this incident. So he even threatened my landlord, and my landlord signed an affidavit, witness affidavit, saying that he also was threatened by this Mr. Ugly Thunder. Okay, he simply felt that he was so powerful. So okay, what's gonna happen if you're gonna, okay, by the way, it's slander, not libel. He filed slander, grave threat, and unjust vexation against me. So it's not basically the same. Libel and slander are not basically the same, but they are almost synonymous in terms of the elements. So libel is a malicious and defamatory imputation. If you're gonna do it in writing, for example, radio, internet, that's gonna be considered libel. But slander is when you say it verbally, in oral. Okay, it's a slanders by the word slanders. So it's an oral imputation of malice or wrong or crime against someone. So let's check on the elements of slander. Of course, I'm prepared here. So okay, so let's just check on the basic elements of slander in the Philippines. So this is just Philippine jurisprudence, by the way. So slander or oral defamation are penalized under revised penal code. In order to successfully lodge a case for slander, the following elements must be proven or met. So the first one is there must be an imputation of a crime, vice, defect, omission, condition, status, or circumstance. Okay, so basically saying that I slandered him in front of another tenant because I called him worthless. Yeah, basically when we were engaged in a heated argument with someone, especially when we lost respect for that person, we tend to become so combative. We tend to say every hurtful things that we can surmise or gather in order to hurt that person's feelings. But basically, I was saying yes because I talk to that person in a regular basis. We were like, we're not friends, but basically as you know, bad mates. Okay, we live under one single roof. We were talking about our personal lives, and based on what he said, it's like a failure. And I actually use all this, this information that I got from him against him. So I called him worthless, rude, walang kwenta, ang tanda-tanda mo na, ganyan ka pa, something like that. And it hurt his feelings that he had to do all this, desperate actions against me. So again, threatening my landlord. Basically, he threatened my landlord that he's gonna report my landlord to the administration, the condominium administration. Imagine that. Okay, and he even verbally harassed my landlord. Imagine. Okay, and because of that, my landlord also had to. I was, encouraging her, to make, a complaint against him, but this lady didn't want any trouble, legal trouble at all. So basically, what happened is Mr. Ugly Thunder filed a case against me before barangay. So there's gonna be barangay intervention. But before that, let's continue with the 5 elements of slander. Okay, imputation is made publicly. The imputation must be made publicly. So that I called him worthless, matanda, walang kwenta. He had to file slander case against me. That the imputation must be made maliciously. So it's really hard to prove malice, guys. This is the same element that very material element in a libel case. So the complainant must prove that there is malice in the imputation made by the perpetrator or the respondent. Okay, and the 4th element is the imputation is directed against a natural juridical person, corporation, for example, or someone who is dead. Okay, so, as I said earlier, dinamay niya yung mga relatives ko, pati yung patay kong lolo, because we talk about a lot of things basically, and I even told him a story about my grandfather, for example. So dinamay niya. So the imputation tends to cause dishonor, discredit, or contempt of a first person, or tends to blacken the memory of someone who is dead. So dishonor, discredit. So basically, that's his legal basis in filing slander case against me. So the grave threat, I don't know where that came from. And the other thing is unjust fixation. So mind you, unjust fixation is a very, very vague crime that can be committed by anyone. Okay, what is unjust fixation? So if you annoy someone, you do something, you just annoy him, whatever that is. So it doesn't have to be violent annoyance. Okay, someone can file an unjust vexation case against you. Okay, so here is the elements of unjust vexation. So according to, by the way, before we get there, unjust vexation is defined as any human conduct without violence that unjustly annoys an innocent person. So it is anything that can annoy anyone. You can commit that crime under the revised penal code. So according to some legal experts, unjust vexation is basically unconstitutional because it doesn't have any solid definition. So it can be anything. So, a crime must be properly defined, right, for you to be able to commit it. And here are the elements before we get there. There is a human conduct that unjustly annoys or irritates another person. Such human conduct was not attended with violence, so there's no violence involved. Such human conduct cause annoyance, irritation, torment, distress, or disturbance to the mind of the person to whom it is directed. So, probably by saying that he's pangit or worthless, walang kwenta, matanda ka na, walang nangyari sa buhay mo, something like that, he probably felt distress, torment, disturbance. That's the reason why he filed unjust vexation case against me. And offender acted with criminal intent, which is hard to prove. So basically, his he went to POW, by the way, but he didn't know all this. He didn't know all this when he filed the case against me. He just started with slander case, okay, with the barangay intervention process. So, okay, what's gonna happen to Mr. Real Talk King is that he's gonna face all this. Of course, his complainant must file a case before the barangay, you know, area first. Okay, barangay first. Okay, there's gonna be some hearing, and I did not attend the initial hearing, so to speak. I did not attend. I only attended the second one, but a total of 3 hearings because okay, what the barangay is simply gonna do is try to placate, okay, or pacify the complainant, but it has nothing to do. It can do anything about whether the complainant is going to pursue the case before the court of law. Okay, so all barangay officials or the barangay captain can do is try to reconcile both parties. That's all. That's all that the barangay captain can do. Okay, and what happened is after all these 3 hearings, he filed a case against me before Makati. I don't know if it's RTC. I'm not really familiar, but he filed it before the Makati justice system, and he even sent this letter of affidavit or complaint to my company. Okay, so basically I already knew that he didn't have any case at all, because the reason why he had to file a case, well, first there must be probable cause. So filing a case with the court's docket or Makati docket is just the beginning. Okay, it doesn't mean that you're already gonna meet with your complainant in court. No, that's not gonna happen unless the fiscal, okay, it's gonna go to the fiscal or prosecutor is going to find what we call probable cause. But basically, based on what I see here in the case between Mr. Real Talk King and Dave Villanueva, I'm not a legal expert, although I studied law up to 3rd year. Okay, I know the elements and I know how to read these legal terms, etc. I know how to understand them. Basically, I don't see any case here. Okay, probably he can, Mr. Villanueva, if he's strategic enough, can add unjust vexation. But what I see here is that Dave Villanueva is simply trying to harass. It's legal harassment to harass and cause distress and discomfort against Mr. Real Talk King. So again, his name is Romeo Robles Hernandez Jr. So, if you're rich, if you have the money and someone is trying to annoy you, someone is trying to bash you online, even if you know yourself, or even if your attorney is going to tell you, probably we don't have a case here, but we can definitely make this person's life miserable as long as you have money. Of course, money can do anything. Okay, that's part of his tactic. So I don't think there's going to be probable cause to be fined to be found by fiscal, whether it be Makati or any city. Okay, I don't think there's a case of Mr. Villanueva has a case against Mr. Real Talking, but like I said, it's all about harassment. It's all about making the life of this person miserable. Okay, putting him down, punishing him for speaking his mind. Okay, so this is TikTok, guys. We're supposed to have fun. Okay, if you do something that is, shady, sketchy, something that is, you know, we think is not cool, improper, for example, then expect that some people will talk about you, will comment on your content, especially if you're shamelessly flexing money on your TikTok account, making it as part of your content, daily content. Expect that some people will bash you. Okay, it's really hard to prove malice here because these people don't know each other. Okay, and by the name itself, okay, Mr. Real Talk King is simply spouting real talk. Mr. Romeo Robles Hernandez simply trying to do some real talk. Okay, why so mad? Okay, why so upset? Why be upset that someone is describing what you're doing online? Okay, he's not trying to, you know, humiliate you. Although I haven't seen some of these videos of Mr. Real Talk King, but I know these guys who are trying to harass him legally. Okay, I know the Villanueva, for example, and others. These people may have money, but I believe that some people sympathize with Mr. Real Talk King. Okay, this is just my 2 cents. But anyway, so what's gonna happen is that once the barangay hearing is done, and the complainant is going to pursue the case before the court of law. So there's going to be what we call preliminary investigation. So this is really, what do you call this, time consuming. Okay, time consuming. Both of you and the complainant must attend this preliminary investigation. So I did not attend it because I already left the condo. I moved to a different place in Makati, which is near my workplace. And what this Mr. Ugly Thunder did is that he sent this letter of complaint to my company, and my HR had to call me, okay, had to talk to me and warn me that if it's not gonna be in my favor, expect that I might face not really good result. Okay, they had to, but my company was really helpful. you know it's just a normal day. I'm so lucky, by the way. So okay, I'm gonna face this one. I'm not gonna hire a lawyer. This Mr. Ugly Thunder had to not hire but obtain the legal services of Pau because he didn't have any money at all. So he's supported by Pau. Someone created or wrote this pleading for him, pleading and everything. So this is a badly written pleading, by the way, complaint affidavit. So I had to write mine. By the way, if you don't have any money, you can, or even if you don't have a lawyer, you can seek assistance from, I think, the 16th floor at this Makati City Hall. This is, I don't know, the new building in Makati, the Makati City Hall new building. So the 17th floor is where the prosecutor is, and the 16th floor you can seek assistance. They can help you, write your pleading or counter affidavit. So I had to write my counter affidavit. Okay, but I did not attend the first part of the hearing or the preliminary investigation. So there is no hearing yet. So what's gonna happen is that the fiscal or the prosecutor is going to do what we call preliminary investigation. Okay, to check if there's actually probable cause. So what it's gonna do is try to reconcile both of you, both parties. It's gonna try to make you be friendly again. Okay, that's what it's gonna do. So my advice when you're in this situation, okay, just in case you're in this situation, is don't ever act like don't act crazy. Okay, always be humble. Okay, so let's just say you're the defendant here. You're being complained by someone. Okay, and this guy, Mr. Ugly Thunder, was like behaving like crazy. So he felt that since he's a complainant, he can do anything. He can say and do anything. He was verbally berating me in front of the fiscal, and that's a no-no. That's a no-no. Okay, that's a no-no. Always be humble. Okay, do not make any noise at all. Do not initiate an altercation. Always be civil and diplomatic. That's my advice. Okay, because these are going to be observed or taken by the fiscal. Okay, whether it's you or the complainant is telling the truth. Okay, who's probably is going to find out that the complainant is just exaggerating his claims when he lied actually. All you need to do is gather all your counter evidence, and counter if you can file a counter complaint. I did file a counter complaint, by the way, which was filed with a different fiscal. Nothing happened with both actually, and that's just my advice. So I did not attend the preliminary hearing, so because I did not receive the letter of complaint sent by the fiscal. So once I found it, because my HR advised me about the complaint, I I did request for another preliminary investigation. So that was the time that I had to meet for the second time around Mr. Ugly Thunder. So we met in his office, in the fiscal's office, and he had to ask us questions. So, did you do this? Did you do that? Something like that. But make sure not to provoke the fiscal or the other party. Always be respectful. Always be civil. And because of that, the fiscal or the prosecutor did not find any probable cause. Binasura, he junked the case against me. So, that's just my advice to Mr. What do you call this? Mr. Real Talk King, okay? Just stay cool, okay? You don't have to have money for the preliminary investigation, especially when you didn't do anything. So it's really hard to prove malice in a libel case. So the four elements of libel is that there is malicious imputation of wrong, defect, status, etc. That the imputation be made publicly, that there is malice, etc. So, and that it is not necessary to identify the victim here or the one complaining. So it's really hard to prove libel unless Mr. Dave Villanueva, upon advice of his lawyer, is going to include unjust vexation. That's going to be another story, but I don't think there is probable cause here, and Mr. Will Talking is not gonna see a single day in court. Okay, but should they meet, or should he meet with Mr. Dave Villanueva, at the fiscal's office, what I'm going to tell him is that behave, do not provoke, stay respectful to the fiscal and prosecutor, stay humble. Okay, do not say anything that's gonna be taken against you by the fiscal. Okay, let the other party destroy himself, destroy his credibility by acting crazy, like what Mr. Ugly Thunder did. He was like making a scene, actually, making a scene, and it's really disrespectful, And I don't know. I mean, that guy was really crazy. He even threatened my landlord, by the way, and a barangay staff. But that's gonna be another story. So that's just my advice to Mr. Real Talk King. And if you like this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And this is again Uncensored Asian Vlog. And have a good one to all of you.